Welcome to our second video of GST for businesses. This video focuses on billing, receipt, voucher, delivery challan, debit note and credit note. You can send us your queries at our email address. Now let's see when would you be required to issue a tax invoice as a business owner. If you are supplying taxable goods, you will be required to issue a tax invoice when you remove the goods for supply or deliver the goods to the recipient or make them available to the recipient in any way. If you are supplying taxable services, you shall issue a tax invoice within a period of 30 days from the date of supply of the service. If you are supplying goods, you will be required to prepare the tax invoice in triplicate, one for self, one for transporter and one for recipient. For supply of service, you would be required to prepare it in duplicate for self and for recipient. If the value of taxable supply is 50,000 rupees or more and the recipient of supply is an unregistered person, you will have to mention some compulsory details such as name, address and other. This is the format of the tax invoice that is to be issued. The supplier details that are to be given are GST identification number, name, address, serial number of invoice and date of invoice. The receiver details that are to be given are details of the receiver, name, address, state code and GST identification number or unique ID. This is mandatory if the value of the goods supplied is more than 50,000. The goods details to be included are the description of goods, HSN, quantity, rate, total, discount, taxable value. The expenses details needed to be given are freight, insurance, packing and forwarding charges, and tax details of CGST, SGST, IGST or UTGST to be given. If receiving place of goods is different, then the details of consignee need to be given such as name, address, date, state code, GST identification number or unique ID. Formats given are just general formats and need to be customized for usage. Now let's see when would you be required to issue a bill of supply. You would be required to issue it if you are supplying goods and paying taxes under the composition scheme, or you are supplying exempted goods or services, or both. A composition supplier can only supply within the state. Bill of supply of goods will be in triplicate and bill of supply of service will be in duplicate. This is the format of the bill of supply that would be issued. It includes details such as details of supplier, receiver, goods, expenses and tax. Now coming to the receipt voucher, you would be required to issue a receipt voucher if you receive any advance for supply of goods or services or both. Tax is to be paid in advance through the receipt voucher. Advance plus tax will be adjusted on the final supply. This is how a receipt voucher will look like. It will include the details of supplier, details of receiver, details of the goods likely to be supplied and the details of tax. Now let's see the usage of a delivery challan. You can move your goods without invoice for transportation for job work within state or interstate through a delivery challan. For example, if you have a cloth that needs print work, you can move it within state or interstate even to a third party for job work on a delivery challan. You can also use a delivery challan to move goods within the same state for transfer between your branches, head office, factory or place registered under the same PAN within the same state. This is how a delivery challan should look. It includes details of goods, supplier, receiver, taxes and expenses. Now let's see when a credit note will be issued. You can issue a credit note in 3 cases. 1. Taxable value or the tax charged in the tax invoice is found to exceed the taxable value or tax payable. 2. Where the goods supplied are returned by the recipient that you are supplying it to. 3. Where the goods or services are found to be deficient. That is when they are not found to be up to standards. Now when will a debit note be issued? It will be issued when you have to increase the taxable value or the tax charged in the tax invoice. So for example, you have supplied some goods and the taxable value you have written is less. To increase it, you will have to issue a debit note. This is the format of a credit or debit note. Along with the usual details of supplier, receiver, goods and taxes, it also has the original invoice number. Like and share our video and subscribe to our channel for future videos on topics such as registration, reverse charge, etc.